Hey there, welcome to the Prosperity Practice. Welcome to the Voice of a Generation. Brandon Hanley here with Jeremy Todd from the positive side and Adam Walton, who is the new kid on the block, but he's been behind the scenes for quite some time. He is actually the guy that I first had my coaching experience with, and I think, Jeremy, you did as well.
Absolutely.
Um,
Closer,
he,
closer.
he is a cleat, right? For sure. But he's the guy that got me and Jeremy, podcasting and, coaching us through the very beginning. So while Jeremy and I have been podcasting for a couple of years now, Adam is taking the plunge and he's starting up his own. So is it the Mental Mastery Alliance, Adam?
I think so. That's been the name of my company for a long time. But yeah, it may sound funny to an audience, me being the new guy podcasting, yet I got you guys both into podcasting years ago.
Right.
The reality behind that is I'm not, I wasn't. You guys had an idea. Both of you had an idea. All I was the voice that pushed you into making into taking action.
Sure.
And we connected with the man, the myth, the legend, Sam Crowley on the Every Day is Saturday.
For sure. Yes, sir.
And that was the tie-in. But you guys were both amped to be a big deal. You just neither one of you had taken that step, and I was just that gentle whisper in the wind.
Yeah, horse whisper.
I like how you insinuate we're a big deal now too.
Well, you are a big deal, of course.
Yeah, I'll take it. I love it.
Absolutely. And you know what? I don't think that I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing any of this stuff without your coaching, right? And Jeremy, I don't know if you could say the same, but I'm sure you would. And even throughout the times, and even when you weren't coaching me, anyways, I was able to reach out to you and have real conversations and real connections with you. And so throughout the years, it's gone from being a coach to us to developing a friendly relationship, and I've loved it. So thanks for being here. This is something, guys, Prosperity Practice. I'm gonna let you know this is something that we do, a couple times a month. We get together, Jeremy, Todd, Adam, and myself. We get together and we call it the PPA. The what is it? The Positive Prosperity Alliance. That's all. It's PPA. It's like an IPA. It's like an IPA, except different.
It's like an IPA, but different. Yeah.
So we get together and we just shoot the shit. I mean, I can't put it any other way, man. That's what we do. We shoot the breeze, right? So
we have the conversation, and also if you don't edit this video, they're going to see the majority of that. Actually, you have to edit this video because I dropped a price in there before that.
Yeah, I'll edit the file.
Yeah, price goes up.
Ignore that price, anyone listening right now.
Well, you know what? Hey, let me jump in here real quick because this episode was I was really, really looking forward to it for multiple reasons. Number one, before I get started, just to kind of piggyback on what Brandon say, obviously, Adam, you got me started. I mean, that was one of those things that sometimes you need those people in your life that, it's like they kick you over the edge. And obviously you were one of those guys, get off the cliff and then jump. Sure, we had some bumps and bruises down the side of the cliff, but you need those people in your life to actually push you over that edge. And man, mad love, much respect for you. Brandon Hanley, BFFs forever, man.
I think you were my first guest. You might've been like my first guest.
Yeah, I think so. You've been on my show multiple times. I mean, Adam's been on my show multiple times, but neither here nor there. Let's quit the bullshit talking. I had to get in this topic. I told you this before when I first started. Adam put it on his page, and again, if you're not listening or watching or following Adam Walton, you got to follow him. I just want to hear the background, the mindset, the thought process of this comment. The very first line. I don't even want to go into the other lines, but. God is real. Anyone who says God isn't real is an idiot. Adam, please, let's talk about that.
Just out of the context of the way you wrote it or read it, people would certainly question my motives behind that. Controversy sells. I have lived a life where I have pushed and pushed and pushed. I've pushed people to the brink of their own mentalities for the sake of their own betterment. And then, sort of everything sort of has come full circle. Like everybody's getting offended by everything now. And my style of teaching is archaic, is old school, but it's still inside me. So I can do other styles of teaching. I can promote and push and be kind and gentle and get inside somebody's head and make them realize what they need to realize. But there are some topics out there that demand old school come out. So the follow-up to that, the actual caption, the full caption is God is real, and anyone who says God isn't real is an idiot. Also, the Big Bang happened, and anyone who doubts that is an idiot. And why I put that out there is because if you can insult somebody, or if you can get into somebody's craw and just be like, I have something to say to you, right? So like I already hate what you say about God is real and all that sort of stuff, right? If somebody feels that they hate that, and then immediately they read a line that is what they agree with, well then they're instantly confused, and they don't know how to feel or react because nobody told them how they're supposed to think when instantly they're offended and secondarily they're not offended.
Well, I loved it because real quick, when you said that initially, I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? You know what? I mean, I don't know if I'm a 100% believer. And then my second thought, subconsciously, instantly, I mean, these thoughts come right through my mind instantly. Like, is he fishing? Is he just trying to get that? Is he trying to get that? And then initially right after that, like, then what's really the thought behind it? So there's multiple things that come to the human brain instantly.
Yeah, and I played on all of them with a couple of quick words.
That's why I loved it. That's why I loved it.
But that's where it comes from. It comes from the desire to poke at people. The whole video it's only about 7 minutes, and it's me talking about the audacity that anyone has to believe in what they believe in, the sheer foolishness of their own thoughts, yet how utterly important they are, and how true they are. No matter what you believe, it is the truth, because it's what you believe. It's the new information that takes over and that changes that. So, I mean, even these podcasts and anyone that's sort of listening to the PPA in any sort of lined, if you just listen to the PPA, not all the other stuff in between, the three of us are basically like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We've all got our own, sub stories going on. Then we come together for this sort of thing. But, we talk a lot in this group. We talk a lot about quote unquote conspiracies. We talk about God. We talk about McDonald's. We talk about it all. But to be able to excel in life, primarily, you have to let go. You have to quit. You have to let go of the ideologies that have kept you locked in place. You have to let go of everything that you feel has tethered you. We're not chained to anything except for the fact that we believe that we are. And then once you can sort of free yourself from, I absolutely believe in God, or I absolutely believe in the Big Bang, or I absolutely believe that this is what has to happen. Once you can free yourself of that, then you can open yourself up to, well, maybe if I do this, that'll happen. Maybe if I do this, that'll happen. Maybe I don't need to fight with everybody because they have a different opinion of something.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, there's so much there that what you were saying there. And I was actually grabbing my piece of paper to try and write notes because I wanted to reference all kinds of things I was going to say. But what you said is interesting. Your reality, and again, I'm paraphrasing. I'm going to butcher it, I'm sure, is what you believe in, and I think I think the human, gosh, I don't even know how to explain this. Psychologically, the human person right now in today's world, they don't know who they are. They don't know what to believe. They don't know what is reality. They don't know what is real. They don't, because you watch fake ass TV all the time, and the food is fake. The water's horrible. There's all kinds of other things that are brutally out there that are programming you and changing you who you are. People don't know who they truly are. And that's,
Jeremy, go ahead.
I say that, and I say that in generalities. I say that because I don't think we take enough time to be within ourselves. I don't think we take enough long walks. I don't think we meditate enough. I don't think we know truly who we are. We're such a reactive society. When we see things like this and you see these shock videos, and well, I'll tailor it back to what your comment was. It was a shock comment. We're so reactive to these things, and we're so busy reacting to believe what. Are we defending what we truly believe? Or are we defending what society is telling us what to believe? It's so hard nowadays to understand who you truly are. And I think, again, I get closer and closer every day. I'm nowhere close to believing what I actually believe and who I truly am. Because, I mean, do you ever really believe?
I addressed that as well in the video. There's no, I spoke of how I came from being an atheist into religion, Christianity, and sort of through it. And that there is no end result, because at the end of the day, or at the end, like when you hit your end result, you've made it. It's over. Now you go on to the next. You have your entire life to figure out who you are, and that's where you head. That's the meaning of life.
The two most important days in your life, right? The day you're born, the day you find out why. But I think even the day you find out why, is that psychological? Is that truly the day you find out why? Is that
because it changes the next day?
That's what I'm saying. So we go through these different things and we think about, oh, this is what I believe now, and this is what I believed yesterday or last week, and this is what I was raised to believe on. And if you doubt that, society comes in and says you can't do that. So when you say that, like, I was an atheist, before, and now I believe, are you going to change your mind in another year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when you get more information and more, I would say it like reality facts, like this is what really happened. And then you pull in aliens and you pull in all these. I mean, there's so much to believe and think about, and then we get in these little pockets, and we just say, okay, well, now I'm a believer. And then if you try and attack my belief, all the other people that are believers are going to attack what you believe.
Okay, I mean, can your belief even be attacked?
I don't know. I mean, that's a great question, because I think it depends how strong it is, right? Or should you? And this is the way I feel, and I don't know if it's right or wrong or indifferent, but I'm so open-minded. I don't latch on to this is what it is. I think when you put definites on anything, you are shooting yourself in the foot, because there's so much information. I changed my mind a lot. Things I believed years ago, and I don't want to go down the political road. I used to be a diehard Democrat, diehard. And then I'm like, well, none of that shit makes sense. So I changed my mind on stuff. But then if I agree with like a Republican side, oh my God, I agree with that. Well, you can't do that, because you're supposed to be this or that. Why can't I change my mind? Why can't I be present and learn it more and more and more?
Noam Chomsky said it best when he said, give the people 2 topics out of the 10 to talk about, and give them ample room to run with it. So if there's a lot to an issue, let's take politics, for example. There's Democrat and Republican and Ross Perot. But
He was great.
There's everybody's fighting over the political stance. Everyone's fighting over, like, massively fighting over 2 pieces to a 12-piece pie. And nobody's addressing it. So no, I don't know the exact quote. I mean, I could dig it up. It wouldn't take me too long. But his quote rings true. It still holds value today. And with regards to beliefs, I mean, there was a time where all of us believed that a fat man in a red suit went down our chimneys at night in Christmas time. And it's
whatever happened to that guy?
Exactly. But that's the thing. That's I mean, I keep alluding to that, because that's a huge thing. People can't accept new realities, or at least it doesn't look like they can accept them. And the funny thing is, I mean, whether you accept it or you don't accept it, it doesn't matter. And when you talk about what's the greatest, what's next, and what am I going to believe in tomorrow, and what am I going to believe in? Like, I was, we have liberals and conservatives up in Canada. That's basically how we address them. And it's all bullshit. I was absolutely anti-liberal. I still am. I'm more anti-liberal than anything else, but I'm anti all of it. I mean, the whole thing's a fucking scam, mind my language. The whole thing is a joke. It's absolutely asinine. We have a series of people taking from us. We have a series of government employees that because of where we were born, because of the simple fact that all of us right now fell out of a human in this country and within these lines, we have to pay a certain amount of our money to this system, which the majority of people will blindly defend and say, yes, you're right, I must pay my taxes. The rich don't pay taxes. The real players in the game don't play by the rules.
No, they don't.
We get screwed. We get hosed, and we get the fear of God. We get the fear of God put into us by the power of the government, right? Now, remember that the power of the government is an individual that's on the phone talking to you. It's one dude that woke up one morning and said, you know what? I want to work for the government, and I want to really put the gears to people that owe taxes. A bullshit number paid to a bullshit company that's a bullshit government that we bullshitly apply that has to go towards this. And then what happens? We pay for the roads and the schools. So the money that they're stealing from us goes towards building the schools that they use to indoctrinate our youth.
No, so guys, I mean, you know me. I'm not always. I don't.
That's why I love you on the show, bro. I love you on the show.
I don't subscribe to the whole thing, right? Like, so the rich don't pay taxes
They
because
don't.
and why is that?
Because they're smart. Because
They're
taxes.
fools.
So they don't pay taxes because they've invested in themselves. They've created companies. They've made so much money that the bulk of whatever it is that they're making, they're also giving back in some way or another. So they're not paying taxes. Just play with me here for a second, because they figured out a way to create more value than taxation.
No, because we think that the taxes in the government are the top upper echelon. But there are certain people. I mean, there was an episode of The Simpsons back in the early '90s where they were the stone cutters, and he says, everyone's running around calling 911, but if they're really in an emergency, call 912. And it's just it's the powers that be. Everyone thinks the buck stops with the government, but the government's just another layer. And I'm not a tinfoil hat wearing a toity-froity on this one. It's factual. Think about what we're doing. We're humming and hawing over bloody Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. Those were the two choices they gave us, and they wanted us to think it was real. Anyone that opens their eyes can be like, Jesus, wait a tick, Basil.
Both terrible choices.
Yeah, this is not acceptable. And then, but they're like, no, you voted for them all the way along. These were the primaries. These are the ones who won. Oh, who told us that? The news told us that. So yeah, I mean, Brandon, I understand where you're coming from, but we only know what we know based on the information that we have. Now, if you want to talk about, bare minimum people, I don't mean bare minimum. I mean average everyday working people. You could take the book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Right.
and you could understand that the rich that we know, people that have $1 million or more, just those aren't rich people. Those are people that have a little bit more than us, that did a little bit more, simply because rich parents don't hand their kids money, they hand their kids ideologies. Poor parents hand their kids poor problems. White trash parents hand their kids beatings and cigarettes. And you can spot them, you can see them. And I'm not knocking, and I'm not saying anything, because there's all kinds of derogatory terms that you can put towards anything. But when you truly see it, when you truly understand the lineage of what falls down, it's the information passed down that creates the state in which we're in. So once you get new information, you apply it and you elevate yourself and you step up. So when the rich don't, the ultra rich, the real rich don't pay taxes, the ultra rich also don't go to jail. Who's going to go to jail? Little Joe Schmo that's got 2 grams of weed on him. He's going to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
But the
brothers.
the guy that owns the weed factory, he's not going anywhere. These are the people greasing the wheels, right? But if we're not paying attention to it, if we're not looking past it, if we're accepting that the buck stops here, then nobody's looking further. Nobody's looking into who the quote unquote ultra rich are. And the ultra rich, the funniest thing about the ultra rich is the higher you go in the ultra rich. I mean, we see things like all the celebrities and the fake paparazzi taking pictures and invading the privacy of the celebrities. They're creating this division, right? But the people with the real money, the people that own the teams, the people that are like really pulling the strings, you don't even know who they are. 90% of the people don't even know who the Rothschilds are.
That was my point. We don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about the ultimate rich, and it's funny that this week the top, I think the billionaire list came out. There was like a new billionaire or 100 billionaire came out, whatever the number is. That's such bullshit. That's the biggest bullshit list I've ever seen in my life, because we don't know the people on top of them that are billionaires that we can't even talk about because they're so high up.
And the higher you go on that, the more you realize money in and of itself is the conspiracy. These people don't need money. Money's a trick. It keeps people running around, and it has us attempting to create some sort of value, and it keeps everybody sort of in control. But those that print the money don't need to earn the money. And that's the thing. People think the banks print money and that there's this system in place and that there's checks and balances and all this crap. There's no checks and balances. There's no nothing. There's an idea that we as a whole have bought into and we accept. Imagine going over to like one of the quote unquote, I mean, as we're supposed to believe, one of the quote unquote poorest countries in Africa, and being like, here's a briefcase with $1 million in it. The kid would be like, what the hell is this? He'd throw it in the air and go run and play in the mud, because that's what he knows and that's what he wants to do.
Well, and to that end, though, too, Adam. That's what we know. I mean, that's right. I mean, the same thing with like the white trash
It's all
family.
perspective, right?
Well, all your beliefs are inherited.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
So money isn't anything other than a belief system. That's all it is. If you believe in certain things, and if you believe that you have to work, 40 hours, 50 hours, I don't know what people are working a week, 90, 100 for 60 grand. Well, that's what you believe. And then you
Right.
have to pay your taxes. And then you're stuck in this rat race where you're paying for your house, you're paying for your taxes, you're paying for your kids, this, that, and the other thing. You don't have any money. You're stuck. You're not going to rise up. You're going to accept the government and you're going to shut your mouth and do what you're told. Right. So when they talk about, when they talk about slavery, we can't talk about slavery because as the story goes, whites own the blacks and this, that, and the other thing. And there's this huge divide right now about it. What they don't realize is there was that all of that wasn't really a thing. There's pieces of it that took place in a certain scenario, but all it is a derivative and an angry drive. It's pushing people to hate other people based on a story they were told, when they don't realize that every single one of us that isn't them is under the thumb. We are all slaves to them. And I mean, that's a super high end. And there's a lot of people that probably just flicked off the thing right now, but there's a ton of people that know too. There's a ton of people that are like, well, he's making some sense. Like, I get it, but imagine if I said slavery was fake. Imagine the people that would be like, holy shit, slavery, you can't say that. Right. And then, this war starts, and then people don't get a fact. They don't understand. They don't comprehend that, we're all in it. We're all in it together. Every last one of us, black, white, Hispanic, all of us, we're all in it together.
It's hard to get your mind around that, isn't it?
I don't know. Not for me. I mean, I've been in it for so long that it's not hard for me, but it is the fact that, if you're black, if you're white, if you're male, if you're female, if you're Asian, if you're this, if you're that, we're all in it together. We compete with each other because they want us to. We're dancing for them, and we're not rising against them. If we stood up and just said, you know what, I'm not going to pay taxes. None of us are going to pay taxes.
What does that look like? We talk about that, but what does that look like? Like, how do you stand up against that?
Well, you can't because too many people watch TV.
Well, no, exactly right. But it's funny because when I feel that me and my family, we're the ones that are way out there. But are we really way out there? Because there's no TV watching, zero. I mean, zero TV watching. We don't have a TV in the house. Haven't had one for years. And I think when we talk about this mental, I don't know how to. I'm terrible at describing this shit, but I think there's a big time disconnect about what we really want and what is reality. And I think when you separate and you cut your shit off from all the stuff that what you're told, because we're always told we have to identify ourselves. Who are you? You're this religion, you're this, or you're black, or you're white, you're this, or whatever the case is. Did you see that TV show? Why can't you just be who you are? And when you separate yourself and you start looking at like taxes, you mentioned taxes. Taxes are, to me, I think, are a joke. I think they're a joke. I 100% do. I think like what we have to do in society to maintain is a joke. I think we are living in this zombie world. And again, I'm not trying to be weird or way out there, but the things that we do every single day are so strange and so weird. And I'm guilty of it. I go to job, I make great money. I do what I have to do, but why do I do this stuff? What's going to happen 200 years from now? And which is this small, tiny microscope spot of a universe that's been around for billions of years. And here I am worried about going to the job Monday and trying to make this money and worried about what little Joey thinks down the street and how I feel at my job. But what I struggle with is, does this all make sense? Is this reality? Or do I just say, hey, I want to make an impact on people's lives. I want to change. I want to make it like a real impact. I don't want to work just to work. I want to be somebody. I want to make an impact and change someone's life. And I think when you get away from buying a new car, buying a new house, buying a new shirt, buying a new clothes.
Didn't you just buy a new house?
I had to.
Well, listen. So can we deal with like this way though? I mean, when people are buying things, they're doing it to express who they believe that they are, right? And it's going to reach a point where they finally realized they didn't need to buy all these things to express who they were. One thing that was kind of entertaining today, I didn't watch any of it all, but I saw Russell Brand. What the hell's the guy that went on drugs
Russell
and
Brand.
yeah,
Oh,
saw him today. He's just like wearing like this loopy like jumper or whatnot. It probably was like $800 jumper, but looked like something he could have gotten at a thrift market, right? And like he wasn't worried like so much about his appearance and whatnot. Do you get to a point where it's just like um, I'm expressing myself however I can, and that's what the money's for. That's what people are buying the clothes for. They feel like this is the expression of their lives, but they're going to get to a point where like I don't need these things to express who it is that I am.
but isn't that wrong?
Why?
I mean, like we have to socially buy things to make ourselves feel better so we look better to other people.
Right.
It's like it's the
That's
old
they get
keeping
to the
up with
point.
the Joneses, right?
They get past that point. They get to a point, and eventually they're like, oh wow, I don't need to be buying all these things to express who I am. But they're still, this is the whole idea behind the science of getting rich is like you still kind of need money to express your life to the fullest in the society that we currently have.
I agree with you. I agree with you. You've got to have income. You have to. There's no question about it. But I think what happens is, and again, I keep saying over and over, in this society that we are so programmed to keep up with the Joneses. We got to get this new car. We got to get this bigger house. Yeah, I bought a house. We got to get this bigger house and new shit. But we get further and further away from identifying who we truly are as individuals because we put these labels and these tags on our shirts and the new car, but none of that shit matters. At the end, it's the old saying, when you get on your deathbed, you don't look around in the room and say, look at that, look at that award, look at that award. You go back off the memories.
In the end, though, in the end, you talk about being in the end. If you got what you wanted out of life, or at least what you thought you wanted out of life, isn't that kind of what it's about? Why would you? So, would you ask for less than what's available?
That's a great point, man. I don't know. And again, that's why I don't think there's any real solid answer. There's no right or wrong answers. I think
of course there's a right answer. There's a right answer for you.
For you, yeah. But I think, at the end of the day, correct. I can't put that any better way but at the end of the day, I think the biggest impact in life is again, personally, and that's why I like what you said, but personally is the impact you make on others and the lives you change and making people. And again, I know it sounds so cheesy and stereotypical, but I like making people happy and making people feel good. I don't give a shit what I drive or what you drive or where you are social economically. I don't care. None of that shit matters. But you're right. Maybe that's just me. And there's no right or wrong answer to that, right?
Those are your beliefs.
Right or who makes me wrong?
Those are your beliefs, right? And those are also like your limitations, right? Your beliefs are your limitations. I mean, if you believe that it doesn't make sense to have all those things, then it doesn't for you, right? If you don't, and you don't need all of those things to live the life that you feel like you want. But if somebody else says, you know what, there's so much available out there, it's okay to want so much because it's like literally endless abundance, right? I mean, you talk about this space and the gap in time. If we just put this planet into perspective, and what's available, to us in the whole construct of the universe, there's a lot available out there, and people, I don't know if you've ever like walked around a dusty room, but like the more you let the dust build, the more the dust builds, right? Over a week, layer and layer of dust builds. You don't think any dust is falling onto this planet? You don't think this planet's getting bigger like year after year? You don't think that more resources aren't falling into this planet?
No.
That's a good point.
No, here comes flat Earth guy again.
Well, no, but that I agree with what you're saying, though. I mean, maybe, but I listened to Bob Lazar, and if you guys, big shout out to Joe Rogan. If you guys haven't heard that podcast,
I didn't listen to that episode yet.
I mean, again, I'll let Adam go off on this one, but man,
I have a few things to address on that. When you talk about sort of wanting more, and when you talk about the massive amount of universe that's out there, and when you talk about how everything is changing and how we've got all these resources on Earth and all that sort of stuff, and then and then when I said no, your initial as a joke, I mean, you're an open-minded individual, but your initial statement was, here comes flat Earth. Right? So So the funny
Good
thing
point.
is,
That's a good point.
the funny thing is, like when you think about it, right? I mean, there is, okay, Brandon, I will give you $50, 50 Canadian dollars, so you can buy a cup of coffee down there in the States. You can find one picture of a satellite that isn't CGI.
Okay.
50 bucks. You all heard it here first. So to all you Americans, that works out to about $7.24, I think. But there are no single pictures of satellites. There are no satellites in space. There's a Tesla in space because Elon Musk sent one there with air in the tires. There's also no barrier. There's no barrier to space, right? There is the vacuum of space in the atmosphere of Earth, and that's it. And people just accept that. So, when we talk about flat Earth, when we talk about this, I mean, there's no proof of curvature. And I'm not sitting here like talking shit. I'm not some idiot being like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I tried to debunk it. I did my best to be like, you idiots talking flat Earth, right? And then I realized, why on earth do I believe this story? Why do I believe that the Earth is round? And how did Paramount Pictures know that the Earth was round before NASA was invented, or Universal Studios knew what the Earth looked like before NASA was invented? And why did the moon rise pictures? You look up every single time that we're on the moon, and you look at the Earth, and it's so tiny in the distance. La 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 la. But the thing about the moon is, every single time that you look at the moon, it is the exact same piece of the moon looking back to you, which means anytime anyone would have ever been to the moon, the Earth would have been effing massive and directly above their head, because they're landing on the face of the moon, which would have had the moon or the Earth directly above them. But nobody can grasp that concept. There would have been no Earth rising, because the moon never did anything except for face the Earth as it rotated. So, I mean, it's a funny concept that says we did all these things. Now, why I say all this sort of stuff is because anyone that blindly believes what they were told is an idiot. Blatant. And I say that, and I mean it. Because if you don't question things, if you don't question all of it, then what are you really doing? And when you guys were talking about, when's enough enough? When do we get this? When do we get that? What do people think of me? All of those, all we've ever had in our entire lives is our ability to observe and reflect. So when I say something like, this guy over here, this guy thinks I'm fat, right? I don't know what he's thinking. I think I'm fat, and I'm using him as the reflector, right?
Right.
So there's no anything other than, I can't think what this guy thinks of me. I can't do anything about anything except for address my own thoughts through masking it through somebody else. Oh, this guy thinks I drive a shitty car, so I got to go buy a new car, or I got to go buy a new car to impress this guy, to impress these people, to show people where I am in life, right? The richest people in the world wear a t-shirt and jeans, right? So we go through these phases where we buy these fancy suits and we try to look the part, right? But the richest people in the room are wearing tracksuits. And we go through these phases, and it's all of it's inside of our head, because again, the only thing we've ever had any certainty of is that we exist. I don't know if God exists. I don't know if the Big Bang happened. I don't know if evolution took place. I don't know. I don't know if dinosaurs existed. I know a story that I was told, right? And people can say, I don't even know. I don't even know about death. I don't know what death is like. And what that means is, like, my grandmother died literally, like, pretty much in my arms. I was with her the whole time. And she had just deteriorated to the point where she was full dementia, and then her body just forgot how to run, and she passed away. I saw that, I witnessed that, but I still don't know what it is. It's not happened to me. So I don't know. I can only assume I know. I can only think what she was thinking when she was in that moment. I can only deduce from my own mindset what she was going through. So I haven't experienced death, so I can't even say, and in reality now, as I look back, it's the same thing as watching a movie. You see somebody die in the movies, you're like, oh, that looks like it hurt, right? We don't associate that because that's a movie. So the story that we've been told is a derivative of, this is a movie. I don't have the same feelings for this person as I do for my grandmother. But my grandmother was also a movie, because it's a memory. It's a piece of time. It's a thing that I witnessed, right? Whether it was inside the television or in my reality. I mean, define reality. Reality is what you make it.
Right.
And
That's it though, right? Quite simply, right?
Yeah, and reality is what you make it. And no matter what, if there's no other, like, anything that anybody wants to say about reality is their opinion. And they can even say, well, I heard this story and I'm quoting this, this, and this. Well, these are the facts and the information that you collected as an individual. They have created your reality. But if I never collected those facts, even if you're sharing them with me, if I never collected those facts, they're excluded from my version of reality.
Right, dude. This happens with my kids, right? And Jeremy, probably with your kids too, especially when they're younger. One of them, points out something that they see while they're driving down the road, and the other one didn't see it, so he refuses to believe the other one because I didn't see it, so it didn't happen. I mean, and that is the story of our lives, though.
And when
And
you were
that
kids,
doesn't
that's
make
how you got away
sense
with
what
beating
happened.
too.
Well, it also happened too. It's
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
But we
It's
didn't
reality
see
for,
it.
but it's reality for one, not the other, regardless, right?
But it did happen.
Absolutely, for one.
Well, but that's true because I've even said the same thing with regards to baseball. I mean, we can sit there and we can watch the exact same game with the exact same everything, put apart from each other, not even 6 inches apart from each other. Your reality says this sucks because my team lost, and my reality says this is great because my team won.
Yeah, your experience. I mean, it all depends on your experience, and your experience is back to what you make of it. Your reality, you make it. It's all in your mind.
When we go back to reality, I don't want to let this go. I want to bring this back to you, Adam Walton, because I'm just curious about your opinion. Straight question for you. Is God real?
I love the question.
It's a
I love
big
the question.
question.
It is a big question, right? But
So
yeah.
many levels, too, man. So many levels to that question.
Well, so in the video that I posted, I went into a little bit of detail on it because it's one of the topics. I mean, like when you start a podcast, why not start with God? God is real. Religion's real. Death, tax, and politics. Let's go all of it. I'm hammering it out. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the impolite topics, and I want people to be aware of them. But is God real? We talk about the Big Bang, right? If you don't believe that God is real, and you do believe in the Big Bang, then you essentially believe we all came from nothing. Here we are. Look at us now. We're flying through the universe. Wow. Sure. Why not? God also said, let there be light. And there was light, which could theoretically be a Big Bang. Our universe started the minute we were conceived. So us as an individual, us as a human being, we exist the minute seed hits the egg. That's reality. That is life. That is us. And then from there, the creation begins. We create,
I love what
The
you're
creation of the universe.
of course,
for our universe.
because it's
Yes.
our universe.
Right.
Because Brandon, you and I and Jeremy, we're all living in the same universe. Here's another sort of just an aside on this one. The three of us are talking about wealth, and we're talking about this, and we're talking about how do I acquire this and do that, and is it important, and all that sort of shit. But the reality is, we're three douchebags talking over expensive equipment to a bunch of other douchebags that are listening to us, going shit,
Totally.
So not to knock our audiences, because we appreciate all of you, but I mean,
Knock ourselves too, right?
yeah, exactly. If we sit back and look at it and go, fuck, like here we are, this is what we're doing. So our problems are like maybe my Wi-Fi is not cool, as opposed to like I'm not going to eat this week,
Right.
So back to the real the question at hand. Is God real? I'm going to piss off a lot of Christians when I say yeah, but he's inside of us.
Well, how does that fit? So I think all Christianity says that God's inside of you.
No,
You're
a
I
piece
am.
of it.
No.
Or I am you, or I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am me, or I am you, or
So
I think it's just I am.
I am.
So I am
right.
sure. Yeah.
I am.
But I think that it's possible that Christianity has also misinterpreted some of their own documents throughout the years.
Whoa. Don't ever say that to a Christian.
Just saying.
I learned that.
I'll say this. I'll say this.
Yeah.
So I recently came across, and this is a gentleman I told you guys about, Len Wright, and he introduced me to the 4 levels of understanding. Are you familiar with this, Adam?
Is that the same as the Ruiz, the 4 agreements?
Oh no, dude.
Oh, that's a good call.
So the four levels of understanding.
Did you just poo-poo Ruiz, the Four Agreements?
Yeah, I did.
That is literally one of the
See,
greatest books ever written.
That's what
see,
it says.
Look, he says it and then he goes dark. He's just blacking out
yeah.
of it.
I'm out.
It's
So
not-
so listen. So listen. Four levels of understanding scripture, right? And this is from Hebrew perspective, but it obviously wasn't the First Testament. Isn't the First Testament I don't know what the first step, but it's Hebrew.
Doesn't matter.
So the first level of understanding is simple or direct meaning, the literal principle. The second one is hints or the deep, allegoric, hidden or symbolic, meaning beyond just the literal sense. The third one is seek, the comparative meaning as given through similar occurrences. And then Sod, which is the secret mystery or the mystical meaning as given through inspiration or revelation. Most people are stuck at plain, the direct or simple meaning. Very few even go to allegoric, let alone the other three levels of understanding.
Well, the simple meaning, when you get in the simple meaning, people are going to automatically justify it to what they believe and what they think.
Which they can do. But that's and now this one comes from Bob Proctor. Like Bob Proctor is always talking about, and I don't know that much about the Bible at all, right? But he's always talking about the Solomon and saying when Solomon said, "And all you're getting, get understanding," right? So what he's talking about though is get understanding beyond the literal principle, get understanding beyond the allegoric, go beyond. You got to go beyond, just like what Adam's saying here. Like this is what you've been told, but what's behind that? What's more? What's the next level of understanding beyond that? And this is what I'm saying in regards to has the Bible just been, everybody's been taking it so literally for so long, they've forgotten about these four levels of understanding.
That's a great point, man. I love it. I love it because I don't think anybody understands it. I think you're exactly right. I think people just go along with what everybody else believes, and I know I don't want to try and simplify it, but I think that's reality. It makes them feel comfortable, makes them feel warm.
Yeah, they're comfortable. They're comfortable with like the straight bold text, right? It's
Oh
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
start to it's when you start to deviate and try to read between the lines and make all the connections to everything else that's there. Then that's when people are like, yeah, I can't go by that. I can't find that. I can't find that connection for myself, and I have never experienced that connection for myself. Which is why when you're talking about God inside, God's like a personal God, man. You're a personal God, right? God's inside, and or if you say like the universe, everybody's a part of the universe, right? Or if God's inside of you, how you and God apart?
Are you asking?
I asked Jesse Cole when he was on my show. If you hadn't heard Jesse Cole, check him out. He's a great dude. And I asked Jesse on the show. I said, Jesse, what does God sound like?
Mm.
He always says, well, God, and you hear people talk about it all the time. Well, God speaks to me. Well,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, what does God actually sound like? Because God's never said shit to me.
Never
And
said
again, I'm
boo.
not trying to say, again, all the Christian people, I'm not trying to be blasphemous or disrespectful, but I don't, what does that sound like? And he said, and it was interesting. He said, it's most of the time it's in my voice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if God is in your voice, is that your subconscious? Is that what you know is right or wrong? Is it God? I don't know. I don't know what the answer was, but it was a great answer to a tough question. What does God sound like? Because I hear that shit all the time. Oh, the Lord came to me at night and he told me to whatever, do whatever. I'm like, I don't understand that, but he had an interesting perspective about that. So it made sense, I guess, to
Yeah,
him.
absolutely.
Some people also don't want to take on their own power. So for me to say God said that, then it's a lot easier than oh, I said that and I made a mistake. Or
Well,
God
it's
said
very, it's very red, it's very matrixy, right? Very red pill, blue pill. That once you determine that God's inside of you, or that you're God, or that's all kind of like, once you determine that, you have a couple of things that you got to ask yourself. You got to say, do I accept that, or do I go take some Xanax? Do I try to defeat that? Do I get that out of my head? Because I can't accept that. Because if I go around telling people that, then they're gonna think I'm crazy.
well,
But I think also, real quick, and I'll let you jump in, Adam, because I think the other thing is when you start going down that road, you start getting into groups and you start getting into other people that are like-minded. and then and then you're down that funnel of whatever. I mean, I'm just so bad. It sounds so bad, but you get down that Jesus funnel, and the closer you get, the faster you spin, the more and more you're in it, and then it's on.
It either kicks you out or you go
You
right
either
in.
fly out or you're deep into it.
And I can attest to that because I went through that, and the thing is, like, it kicked me out, but I don't know, maybe I hit a windshield on my way out or something, because I'm not in the funnel, but I'm staring at it.
So what do you mean by, but guys, what do you mean by staring at the funnel? So clue me in on that. What you're alluding to there?
Well, okay, so I love how this whole conversation is wrapped around that one post from me the other day. But I was, like I said, I was an atheist. And then more and more, it made it the evidence of the devil and the evidence of evil and the evidence of just disgustingness on the planet. Ritualistic things that are going on, and government bullshit, taxation. All these things. They were leading down a certain path, and you just see it. I mean, you look at the Queen. You look at the Queen, for example, talking about poverty, and she's sitting there in front of a giant gold piano.
Same thing with religion and Catholic. I mean,
yeah. Well, the Catholics
church burned down.
I don't have a problem with insulting the Catholics, just because that ideology is so archaic. I mean, the Catholics, prime example, the Catholics right now, and to any Catholic listening to this. Why do you accept that your priests have to read the Bible to you and that you're not supposed to read it? Like, that one just really irks me. There's so much of Catholicism that is just not right. And I speak, and by all means, anyone listening to this on any of the channels, by all means, address me. If there's anything that you want me to clarify, I will debate. I have that time. but what I was actually getting at was that what the hell was I getting at? Okay, so God, when I needed him, he was there.
How do you know it's a him?
And well, because I put that in my head. God to me literally is the dude in sandals with the big white robe and the long he's got the skullet, so he's bald on top with the Family Guy's version of God. That's my
God?
Yeah. That's my God.
Yeah. That's great.
So why not? Why not? And everyone's God can be absolutely anything, but when I think of God, that's the one that.
Well, why is that? Why does it have to be a male? And I think that goes back into the societal issue thing. That why is God male? Why can't God be a woman? Why does God have to be either one?
Well, God is Alanis Morissette, right?
Very well could be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So I mean,
God is quote unquote God looks like, but what we're told is God is a he. He's wearing sandals. He's got a white beard and white hat. And Jesus is a white guy with the brown beard and long brown hair.
Yeah, Jesus is a white guy in the Middle East.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And again, it's no disrespect, but just someone
that comes from it.
This to me.
That comes from it too, because when I went down there, I mean, I had my questions, right? And then they bastardize the information that they give us. So the information that we have, why on earth would I be accepting of a white Jesus in the Middle East? Why on earth would I be accepting of a white Jesus? Yet he is what is represented everywhere. So, I mean, Christianity, and they bow to this. And I also, I don't like the idea of a false God. Now, I will attest to the fact that when I needed him, he was there. And that's Family Guy God was there.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a funny thing, actually. I remember God was trying to impress, in one of the Family Guy episodes, God was trying to impress this girl. So she's trying to have a smoke, and God.
Oh, that was Jesus.
God hits her with a lightning bolt to strike the smoke, but he
yeah.
her up, and he goes, Jesus Christ, start the car.
Escalade.
Jesus Christ, what? Start the car.
Oh God.
So that's blasphemous, right?
Not right. I don't think so. Well, I think the true beauty is that over the past 100 years and change is that people are beginning to see religion, Christianity, God in a new light, in a light that's much more personal than it's ever been. And I think a lot are breaking away from tradition because they're finding what's true for them, and they're able to find solace in groups like what we have here. They're able to go to Facebook. They're able to go to more local groups that are more accepting. We live in a more accepting time and place, I believe, than we ever have before, and so I think that's awesome.
Well, does having the God just psychologically make our subconscious self feel good that where we can rely on somebody, which may be our subconscious self, to have these conversations with? Hey, I screwed up today. God,
Well,
how do I make things better? And your subconscious self says, you know what? Yes, you can make things better. But
right.
but as society tells us, it's God, it's Jesus, it's praying above to some higher power, whether, and maybe that higher power is within ourselves
Right.
that is already telling us what is right or wrong, but we have to put a label on it.
I agree with that too, though, because I mean, I can't stress enough. The minute you stop trying to control everything, oh my God, life gets so much easier and so much more fun.
Completely.
There was obviously a huge time in my life where it was very important to me what people thought of me, how they viewed me, how everything was. I had to be in control of conversations. I had to be in control of what, everything. And then you realize none of it's real. None of it's real, right? So when you say, is there a higher power? Can I believe in this? Can I help that? It's one of them. It's one of the avenues. It's one of the ways that you can distance yourself. Now there's other people, like you see the bumper sticker, I go, don't worry, Jesus has the wheel. I'd be like, I'm backing away from that car.
Well, so I think that I like the concept that Jeremy's throwing out there, and that one was kind of introduced to me through Florence Scovel Shinn, which is another like new age author from like the 50s. Um, and that's what she talks about. Those like when you throw away like all your problems to God, right? Like we all know that it doesn't do you a bit of good to worry about something, right? So if you throw your problems and your worries to God, you're essentially putting it to your subconscious, right? And saying, hey, look, I'm going to put my worry here and let that work itself out. Because I think that we all know that if you put your problems with your subconscious and you just kind of walk away for a little bit, and like 2 or 3 days later, like the solution pops up from your mind, right? Like I mean, so that's what, and so is that God?
It always was going to pop up.
Well,
That's a great point too.
but the deal is, it's like you're talking about. If you're trying to control it, if you're sitting there trying to push it and prod it to happen, that's that's like a surefire way to make it take longer. I mean, if it's gonna pop up, it's gonna probably pop up just as fast if you let it go with your subconscious.
That's such a great point. And that's almost tying exactly what Adam's saying and what I'm saying.
Absolutely, no, I totally
That's a
100%
great
agree.
combination. Yeah. I mean, I just I get upset, and and maybe this is my frustrations coming out with, and this is what I love about Adam's topic. This is exactly what the post was intended to do, was to get people fired up.
Yeah.
My biggest pet peeve in the entire universe, and I don't have a lot of them, but I got a few of them, and it's the, and I'm going to say Christian, Catholic, Muslim. I'm going to pull all religious societies all in one big box and say, you know what? When the shit hits the fan, all these people they want to back their thing, they back their point and tell why everybody else is wrong, or and why they disagree and why you're wrong. And then they go to church and they pray for the forgiveness, and all of a sudden life is good again. And that shit just wears me out, man. Wears me out.
Well, I mean, again, stop focusing on it. Right?
Yeah, so I don't focus on it. I guess it's just when they come up, when I watch, when I have friends that go to church every Sunday, and they're like, oh yeah, they're the nicest people in the world, Monday through Friday. But reality, it's like it gives them a get out of jail free card. It's I'm a dick all week. I'm an asshole all week. I don't help poor people. I talk shit about the less fortunate, but I go to church on Sundays.
Yeah, look,
Good.
man. Yeah, but again, like, you know what, man? That's again another line that I got from like Florence Scovel Shinn, and it also ties in to I'm reading the I don't know if it's gonna be reversed or not. Like I'm doing the 21 indispensable qualities of a leader. And Florence Scovel Shinn, talks about.
Is that John Maxwell? That's not John
Yeah,
Maxwell.
it's John Maxwell. So
That's his new book.
no, this is an older one. I got the leadership downstairs. In Florence Scovel Shinn, she talks about a practice that is in the Mideast, and that talks about probably all the I don't even know, but she would say they walk by and they salute each other in the Mideast, and they just say, so basically, Namaste. I see the divinity within you, right? That's what they say to each other, and that's what Namaste is. I salute. Isn't that what Namaste is? Like I see the light inside you, or whatever.
I don't
But
know, but that makes a lot of sense, and I
right,
like the way you said that too.
right. So and then the
Because
other one is
because it's not religious geared. It's just I see the greatness within you.
right, right. So if you walk around and you see everyone as divine, then everyone's divine, right? And then the second part it's the same thing. It's just said in a different way from John Maxwell. Is put a 10 on everybody's head, right? One of the best things you can do for people is you know is to put a 10 on their head. And then the best thing you can do, right, is the greatest good you can do for another is not just to share how rich you are, but to reveal them to theirs, right? So if somebody doesn't see the divinity in themselves or whatever, it's kind of like up to you to show that to them.
Makes sense to me. I love the perspective too. Instead of focusing on everybody else, you focus on yourself. And hey, I have greatness within.
Mm-hmm.
I believe everybody has greatness within them.
Mm-hmm.
People are on their own personal journey for a specific reason.
That's right.
You might have judged for them for their journey. You see people
Right.
that are homeless or drug addicts, or millionaires, whatever. Everybody's on their own journey.
Yeah.
We all have greatness within,
Right.
and you're here for a specific reason. Who am I to judge?
Right. And I mean, if you believe in all this stuff, I mean, you keep coming back until you figure out what the reason is, right? I mean, that's it.
That's exactly right.
It's like, it's like Groundhog Day, except for like longer episodes.
I need one of these microphones like you got without the what do you call this thing here? Like a spit thing? I need to get one of the. You guys are way fancier than I am.
The pop screen.
You guys are way fancier than I am. But I'll wrap my end up. I know you got to get going, Brandon.
Yeah, I gotta get going.
I'll wrap mine up. We'll let Adam wrap his up. But again, I just love this podcast so much, and I need this podcast just to vent my own mental demons.
Sure.
Yeah, I was driving through downtown Fort Wayne the other day, and I'm going through poor neighborhoods, and I'm wondering how people got to this point in their lives, and why are they still in there? And
Because Jeremy, they haven't been shown better. They haven't been shown a better way out.
Yeah, but is that their journey? Is that why they're here? And
Yeah.
maybe they're never meant to shown another way out, because this is what they're here on this journey to do. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. But that's what we're here to do, and that's what this show's all about, and that's why I'm glad I'm on with you guys. So,
I mean, I think there's like another quote on that one, right? It's like, it's not your job to understand my journey. It's mine, right? Or something along those lines.
Exactly, man.
So like, instead of trying to get people to understand what it is I'm going through, I'm not. I think I'm past that point, which I really enjoy, right? Just being like, look, you don't need to understand what my journey is, and I don't necessarily need to share it with you. But I do. I'm here to listen to you and understand what your journey is about, and how can I help? How can I help you get to where you want to be? Right? How can I add value to your life today, Jeremy? Right?
Great question. I love it.
All right, brother. Well, listen, Adam's been having some type of technical difficulties. I think he was having some Wi-Fi issues, so he has dropped.
It's Canada. It's Canada.
It's Canada. You can't.
You know what that means, but it's Canada, I guess.
Let me make sure that I've got his mental Mastery Alliance. See if I can get his site up and share that. Jeremy, where can people find you, brother?
Well, like always, man, it's the Positive Side Podcast, jeremytodd.com. We're going to work on that a little bit here. So that's kind of under construction. But jeremytodd.com. The Facebook, I'm all over Facebook. Search Jeremy Todd. Search the Positive Side Podcast. I appreciate the shout out. And real quick, on the last episode, Brandon, I'm sure you haven't listened to it, but I gave you mad love on the last episode, and I totally stole your topic. I loved it. It was amazing.
What was the topic?
It was the 3 people you never forget, something along those lines.
Okay.
3 types of people you never forget.
All right.
Dude, it was so money. You shared a post on one of your pages. I
loved
it.
Yeah.
I absolutely stole it. Absolutely loved it.
Good,
I had to do an episode on it real quick, but
awesome.
Money in the bank. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you. Wait till this Friday. I think I've got like my super favorite one coming out Friday. Talks about the 3 different ways to view a genie in the bottle, right? A lot like we were talking about tonight, like, God within or whatever, but like, what's the idea sound like if you're actually the genie, right? And like, it's like the first wish you make, you jack it all up, right? anyways, go listen to this Friday. I think you'll really enjoy the 3 different ways that I proposed to look at the genie in the bottle. I'm pretty excited about it. If you're looking for Adam, who can't seem to make his way back onto Zoom, you're going to find him at the Mental Mastery Alliance, Mental Mastery Alliance, the Mental Mastery Alliance.com. He's also got a podcast up. You can find him on Spotify. I'm pretty sure he's on iTunes, or he will be there soon. And for myself, you can find me over at prosperity-practice.com. I'm pretty excited. My website has been updated. I'm feeling much better about sharing that with people. We talk about it here today, right? Like, we want everything to kind of look right before we send them to some places, even though that's not 100% necessary. I knew it wasn't necessary, but it doesn't change the fact that I feel better, that it looks better. That's it.
I agree.
All right, man. Well, that's going to cut it right there for us on the, it says prosperity practice, the PPA, and anywhere this goes.